people, welcome back to my channel Express Entry 101. If you have applied to the Express Entry program, you would be aware of the documents that you need to submit as part of your application. As a part of that, you need to submit proof of work experience. The most important document that proves your work experience is your work reference letter. You need to submit work reference letters from all the employers that you have mentioned on your application. This can indeed be a daunting task. Speaking from my personal experience, arranging for reference letters can be very time consuming and stressful. Not to forget the fact that reference letters really make or break your case. Reference letters are the most important proof that convince the immigration case officer about the duration and nature of your work experience. I write on Quora and have been asked this question over and over again. Hence, I decided to create a short video to discuss the format for work reference letters. So let's start by having a look at the basic requirements listed on the CIC website. The link is shared in the description box below. Let's scroll down to the proof of work experience section. These are the points that the case officer would be looking for in your reference letter. To break it down into simple terms, there are 11 major items that need to be mentioned in your reference letter. Let's have a look at these points and then we will look at a sample letter that incorporates all these items. These 11 items need to be present on the reference letter in no specific order. Let's have a look. Your reference letter should be on your employer's letterhead. It should clearly mention your employer's name, address, and contact information. It should clearly state the date of issuance. Try to use letters which were issued quite close, as close as possible to the date of submission. It should have your name clearly mentioned. It should have all your designations clearly mentioned. It should clearly state that you were a permanent full-time employee. Remember, Express Entry does not honor part-time experience. It should mention the number of hours you have worked per week. Express Entry looks for 40 plus hours. It should state your annual salary plus benefits. It should clearly state your date of joining and exiting the organization. It should mention all your individual job roles and responsibilities with exact dates, as in if you had promotions or change in role or whatever, all that should be mentioned clearly on the letter. Remember that these job roles should clearly reflect the NOC requirements stated on the CIC website. Work with your employer to make the best out of this. And finally, it should clearly mention the name, designation, contact information, and signature of the person signing this letter for you. This should ideally be your immediate supervisor, but a HR personnel can sign as well. So these are the 11 points which should feature on your reference letter. There is no particular order and there is no best format. You can create your own letter. You can use the format that your HR provides to you, but ensure that this information is present on the letter. Moving ahead, let's have a look at a sample reference letter. My friend Sanjay had created an Express Entry profile recently. He got an ITA and is now busy preparing all his documentation. This is his reference letter that he has got from his employer. Let's find out if this contains all the elements that we identified earlier, all the 11 elements. It is on the company's letterhead. It has the employer's name, address, and contact information in the header and the footer as well. It mentions the date of issuance, has his name, mentions his designation, also mentions that he is a permanent full-time employee. It mentions that he was working there for 40 hours of work per week. It mentions his annual salary and benefits. This mentions the date of joining. Sanjay is still working here, so this does not have his date of exit. This letter here mentions all the designations and duties that he holds while working with his employer. Let's have a look. He joined as a management trainee and was later promoted as an assistant manager operations. This clearly mentions all the job roles that he has had within the organization. It also mentions the dates for each designation. Remember that these job responsibilities should be as detailed as possible and should be written keeping CIC NOC job description on your mind. Moving on. It has the name, designation, contact information and signature of his area manager. So with that, I guess we have covered all the 11 points. Let's recap. This has his employer's name, address and contact information. This has the date of issuance, name of the applicant, designation, permanent full-time employee status, number of hours that he has worked per week, his annual salary and benefits, date of joining and exiting the organization, all job roles and responsibilities which reflect what's on the CIC website, and it has the name, designation, contact information and signature of the signing authority, his immediate supervisor. Remember that when you start applying for jobs in Canada, you'll be asked for professional references. I have found that submitting my work reference letter adds an intangible value to my job application. It has a positive impact and aids in the background check process. It definitely adds more credibility to my job application. So keep those reference letters safe and secure. Create your reference letters, review and revise them as needed. Work with your current and previous organizations and get the letter in your desired format as much as possible. Some companies have their own format, but try to find out if the HR can accommodate your request. This can be a time-consuming process. It makes sense to start working on this from a very early stage. You definitely don't want to miss the 90 days deadline post-ITA. I hope this video has helped you know more about work reference letters. If you have any questions, do leave a comment. Please show some love by subscribing to my channel. See you next time with a new video discussing some more topics on Canada and Canadian